Hi, I'm Brian, the Theoretical Gamer, and I'm just here to tell you a story. It's basically a story that happened to me, and it's a story that's designed to inspire you to tell your own stories. My WTF story. It's the kind of story that you're playing in a game and someone does something or says something, and you're like, WTF. Now, I was in the Navy. It was back in my Navy days, which was 88 to 92, a long time ago. Riffs was still a new thing. Palladium Games Riffs. And I was in the local game store in Charleston, South Carolina, where I was stationed, in the back room with a bunch of people that I didn't know that well, but we kind of decided, hey, let's go to the back and do a pickup game of Riffs. And so far it was pretty awesome. We threw some characters together and started playing. And the game master was pretty good. He was one of those laid-back game masters who would let you try anything. And he was very forgiving of mistakes and stuff like that. But it's which was cool. Now, the story, I don't even remember what I was playing. I don't remember what any of the other players were. I think I might have been a dragon hatchling, I'm not sure. But we had one guy who played a glitter boy. What is a glitter boy? If you don't know Riffs, basically the glitter boy was originally set up to be one of the iconic character types of the Riffs world. And it turned out just being just one of the characters. But basically the idea was a glitter boy was someone who was trained in the operation and use of glitter boy armor. Glitter boy armor is this big, massive 10, 12 feet tall power armor that you get into and wear, and it's like this shining, glittering, gold, gleaming armor. And it's made that way because apparently the shiny goldness of it helps deflect laser blasts, and you only take half damage from lasers. Right? Now, the standard weapon of the glitter boy armor is the boom gun. Now, the boom gun is basically what it sounds like. It's this massive rail gun that's kind of shoulder mounted, and it's always there. That's a big clunky thing, and it's basically a rail gun that fires like shards of metal, like magnetically propelled shards of metal at like Mach 3 towards your opponent. Hence the name boom gun. It's very, very loud, right? Massive damage. It's like the glitter boys are kind of feared, and what it is that, so what happens now? So basically, you're in the glitter boy. You fire the boom gun. Essentially, what happens is once you prepare to fire, these pylons come down from your armor's legs and shoot into the ground. We're like talking several feet into the ground, right? Through drilling instantly through rock and dirt. And then these like retro fire thrusters on your back fire. And all of this is to keep the boom gun from Newton's laws of motioning your ass back a couple of miles. Right? It's keeping you in place while you fire this massively ridiculous railgun. Now, the story went basically like this. Now, we're in the woods between somewhere and somewhere traveling. There is some Samus armor coming after us, which are basically, again, power armor, manned power armor, except unlike the glitter boy, these guys can fly. They've got rockets, whoosh, and they've basically got this big skull motif. They're by the coalition states, which are like the Nazi-esque analog of the Riffs world. And we're basically like, there's 2 or 3 Samus armors. Now, we are doing okay because we're in the woods and there's all the tree cover is keeping us from being spotted. They kind of can guess roughly where we are, but they don't know exactly where we are. And but also because of the tree cover, we don't know exactly where they are. We can kind of hear them blasting in the background, but no, we don't know exactly where they are. We want to take shots at them but we can't see. So the glitter boy guy says, I have an idea. I have these thrusting rockets that are meant to stabilize me when I fire the boom gun. Can I reposition them straight down and fly up? And the game master is like, that's not what they're designed for. They're just like retro thrusters. They're not designed for flight. He says, well, I don't really want to fly. I don't want to like do anything fancy. I just want to hover above the tree line and get a view and see where these guys are. Now, really, there should be all kinds of safety things that you need to override and figure out exactly how to do that. But the game master was open-minded, and I think he just wanted to move things along and see what would happen. So he says, okay, yeah, you can reposition your thrusters and hover up in the air. And he says, so the guy does that, and he says, like, okay. He hovers up, which I wouldn't have allowed, but the game master was cool. And the guy says, okay, you're hovering just above the tree line, and you see the Samus armors, in kind of a formation, swooping around. And he goes, I fire my boom gun at them. Everyone in the room is like, seriously? Right? He's like, yeah. Well, basically, the boom gun, it just goes completely wide because he wasn't stable. He was hovering it precariously in the air on thrusters that weren't designed to do that job. And again, the game master at this point was absurdly generous in allowing him to survive. There was a bit of discussion. Should he even survive that? So he decided that, okay, he ended up creating a nice little trench half a mile away. Half his armor's gone. And you've just been stripped off. But he is basically alive, and the armor is basically functional. And the guy's like, okay, yeah, I can see why that would happen. That makes sense. I understand. So he's like half a mile away from us, and he's like, well, okay, wait a second. And the Samus armors are coming around and trying to get closer to him. He's like, but the basic idea, he said, was sound, right? I still got the retro thrusters. I can still hover. He's like, yeah, I guess so. Okay, I'm going to do the basic idea. I'm just going to get up and I'm going to take a look. So, okay. You do it again. You reposition the thrusters, and you hover up above the tree line, and you see the Samus armors. I fire my boom gun at them. He didn't survive that one. Yeah, he died. Right, that killed him. Anyways, what I'm asking is, what events have you seen in your games that, like, oh my God, stupidity? What stories do you have? Share them with me. If you can write it in the comments below, or make your own video and give me a link to that video. I want to hear them. I want to hear your hilarious stories about people that just made you shake your head, because we've all had them. And in fact, you know what? If you've done something that, looking back, you're like, oh my God, what was I doing? Share that. I'd like to hear about it. Thank you very much, and good night.